What is going on, everybody? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone, and this is your weekly gear news update. We got a bunch of fun stuff this week. Let's start with, well, first of all, let's start with hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it. And also, links to as much of the stuff that I can find in this week's stories are down below. And if you use those links, it does help out the channel just a little bit, so I do appreciate it. So let's get into it. First, Walrus Audio. They have pretty cool pedals, lots of them, and they've got the new Slotva, I think that's what it's called, like an interesting Russian sounding name. Yes, the Slotva pedal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, probably not, but it's a delay. It's got 3 different textures of delay in it. You could really dive into all of the knobs and capabilities of this thing, but the 2 important kind of fun things to me about this pedal is it's got 2 buttons on it. So it's got your bypass button, but it's not just a true bypass. Apparently if you tap on it or hold it a certain way, it'll actually give you like a fade out effect. So if you have a long tail delay, and you'll be able to like fade it out, which I think that's kind of cool. And then the other one is going to be kind of like a hold effect, where you'll be able to hold things maybe infinitely, which is pretty cool. This gives you a lot of ways to use it in between instances and applications, which I really think is cool. Transitioning from one effect to another, things that can make it do that, I really dig that. Telecaster, Chicago. Legendary guitar player, obviously he's from Chicago. So he has a Blackhawk sticker on his telly. So Fender has come out with, or well, they're doing, I think it's 20 copies of this super custom shop Telecaster, and I think it's gonna be 20 grand. Chances are they're probably already sold out by the time we even see this, but it's based on the guitar that he played. It's got everything pretty much down to every nick and scratch. You know how they do these things. And yeah, so if you really, really want one, you could probably find one, but I bet they're already gone. I just say that because a lot of people are like, I can't believe how outrageous these guitars are. But honestly, I've chatted with people who know, and they sell out every time. Mastro Valvola, they are a company from Italy. They make pedals. The stuff is beautiful looking. I've never played one, but they just came out with a 3-in-1 sort of thing. It's got an octaver, a fuzz, and a ladder filter. So you're gonna be able to use these in any combination. They're made in series in the pedal. And so we know what an octaver does, we know what a fuzz does, but that ladder filter is sort of synthy effects sort of thing. This is very interesting. There's a lot of knobs on it, probably a lot of stuff to dive into, but again, and I think it's gonna be over 300 bucks. But since you have 3 pedals in one, kind of makes sense. So for those of you that frequent Snapchat a lot, you may have seen that Kirk Hammett was playing his probably upcoming signature greenie model, and he's got a bunch of line of guitars. You know, he's been with Gibson now, what, about 6 months, and they keep kind of talking or teasing about an entire kind of library of his guitars as signature models. Well, he was seen a couple weeks ago playing his greenie model, but also in that same show, he's playing a purple Flying V. We know that purple shows up in a lot of his guitars, and so this is possibly, maybe rumored, in my opinion, hoped to be some sort of signature model, Kirk Hammett Gibson Flying V. It's purple and white. I don't know much more about it other than that, except it was seen in a picture and it's on the internet. So it must be true and it must be happening. I don't know, but I wanted to share it. Vola Guitars from Japan have released a bunch of new colors and new updates to their, what is this model? The OZV3MC. So single hum, compound radius fretboard, a bunch of stuff, new colors, that sort of thing. I'm not familiar with this brand. I don't know what to tell you about them, except for I know they are from Japan and they have that weird, bless you, they have that weird kind of little dent in the back. And I also know that nobody gives them a hard time about making a Strat copy. If you've seen any of my other videos this week and looked in the comment section at all, you'll know what I'm talking about. TC Electronic has come out with or they've announced anyway, an infinite sustainer pedal. So this is basically you push a button and it sustains forever. It's gonna have some internal modulation, some reverb, and there's a switch on there. It looks like you'll be able to actually switch the foot switch from latching to momentary, which is super handy. There's a couple of other sustainer pedals out there that are not right. So when you want to sustain a note, you want to just put your foot on it and then let it go. You don't want to have to like turn it on and turn it off, but sometimes maybe you do. So being able to switch that back and forth is pretty cool. I'm excited about this one. I have a friend who's a bass player who uses a defect like this a lot. I think this thing will be pretty versatile for a lot of people, and it just gives you a new dimension. It's a really interesting thing to try to integrate into your sound. I want one. I'm just gonna say it, I want one. So you know that brand Maestro? When we think of Maestro, we may think of like a cheap guitar that you can buy at Walmart, but that's not really what they were. They used to be a killer brand way back in the day. They're really known for a fuzz. Gibson owns the brand now, and they teased a couple of weeks ago, I think it was on their Instagram, they teased a couple of weeks ago a pedal. It looks like they're coming out with pedals again. Well, does this mean we get the fuzz again? I don't know. What are we gonna get? But teasing the pedal line from Maestro is a pretty cool deal. If you remember that fuzz, that green kind of, well, they're all beat up now, but that green fuzz box was pretty legendary. And if you've never heard of the pedal, chances are you've heard it on a record. So to be able to get one of these again might be a kind of cool thing. I don't know how much they're gonna cost. We really don't know anything about it. I just saw and heard rumors of this happening. Positive Grid, they have been on fire with hardware lately. So for those of you that may not have heard of Positive Grid before, like the Positive Grid Spark 40 that I have over there, they were actually a software company and plugins. So they did guitar and amp software. That's how I knew about them originally a long time ago. We actually did a demo video for them, oh man, probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. I just realized this morning actually, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So they had this software, and it's basically like amp sim kind of stuff, and effect sim kind of stuff, and it's plugins for other DAWs, and then you can actually use it as a standalone and just like play guitar into your computer, and the stuff is really good. That software became the Spark 40. So now, on top of that, they came out with this new thing called the Riff Audio Interface, and it's basically a little interface with a high headroom guitar input and a headphone jack and a knob on it, but it's got some built-in effects to it, and you're literally going to be able to take a USB-C, plug it straight into your laptop or your iPad, and be able to record. Well, the cool part is it can be used with the bias effects stuff, and it comes with a basic version of bias effects. The reason I think this is so cool is because I've really lately been getting into just sitting on the couch and playing with, you know, my little Mustang Micro or the Positive Grid or anything like that that's easy, where you just like sit down and you just plug in and you play. Well, if you can record this way, or you can use like an iPad or a phone, which you can, this is gonna be a killer little setup. I already ordered it. There is a pre-order on the website for cheaper than what it's gonna cost. So I already ordered it. I'm supposed to have it the end of next week. And I will do a video with it as soon as I get it, because I think it's a really cool, I don't know, any of this just like sit down and play kind of stuff. Yeah, okay, it's not a Marshall stack, but just to sit down and play in your living room, I'm pretty stoked about it, and I dig it a lot. Speaking of other things I really dig a lot, Ibanez Tube Screamer. You know, they've come out with bajillions of versions of them. Well, now they have this like anniversary one. So it's basically, yeah, 40th anniversary. And they're making it red instead of green. It's the same pedal, but it's just red, but it's like this mirrory, pretty red. I don't know that I'll buy it just for that, but man, that thing's pretty cool and it's kind of tempting. But I already bought the positive grid thing. This gear news thing is getting expensive for me. I don't know about if it is for you, but yeah. Speaking of getting expensive, PRS came out with the Silver Sky SE this week. Obviously, we talked about it last week. We talked about specs. We were speculating on some things. And now the guitar is actually out. You saw a bunch of YouTube videos probably yesterday, which would have been the 11th, which would have been the actual release date for this guitar. Those all came from PRS for sure. So if you saw a video on the 11th, those guitars came from PRS straight to those YouTubers and stuff. I actually have one coming from Sweetwater. I ordered it yesterday and I think I'll have it tomorrow. So we are going to do some videos on that guitar as well. As you know, Dylan Talks Don't does a couple of things a little differently. We're going to dive into the insides of it, figure out how it's actually different from a regular Silver Sky. I bought a Silver Sky last week, and so I've been playing it a lot. It's probably my favorite guitar right now. So we're going to kind of do some comparison stuff there. We're going to take them apart. The Silver Sky SE pickups are kind of interesting, and I want to dive into that and do some measurements and do some things. So that guitar will be here tomorrow. I'm actually doing a live stream on Friday night, I think at 7 p.m. with Aaron Short Music. Aaron Short, who's actually really tall, who has a cool accent, so it's definitely worth coming and watching. He actually is getting one of these from Sweetwater as well, and he has a Silver Sky. So it's going to be 2 YouTubers, 4 Silver Skies, and we're going to talk about it. He has a little different perspective on guitar stuff in general than I do, so it's kind of fun for me and him to share opinions, and we don't always agree on everything, and it's kind of fun. So I think you're going to dig that. That is going to be Friday night at 7 p.m., so make sure you check that out on our channel and his. Check it out on our channel. That'd be awesome. And we have our live stream Q&A thing Thursday night at 8 p.m., which is a normal thing. So this Friday night thing kind of special. Aaron and I do this every once in a while, and I think you're going to dig it. Yeah, kind of a joint live stream Friday night. Thanks for hanging out and checking out the news. Links to as much of this stuff as I can find will be in the description below. And we will see you Monday with a really cool video about a very cool guitar with a very cool story. That telly right there. We restored it for a veteran. It has a long story. It is on Patreon right now, and for YouTube members, you can hit the little join button down there and join our little YouTube join club thing, and you can watch that video right now, or you can wait till next Monday, or Patreon. But that is a very cool story that I recommend that you stick around and watch. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it, the little bell next to it, and we will see you tomorrow.